all eyes, I'm sure, will be on the Australians, but they're in the next semi-final as we have the start list here: Romania, Chile, Ireland, Lithuania, Spain and Great Britain.
Yeah, the Romanians in that favoured lane one, Vrichinau and Angel, are doubling up in the women's 8. They're on the far side. The Chileans, Melita Abraham and Tony Abraham, part of quadruplets. I'm sure that their brothers, Alfredo and Ignacio, will be looking on. Ireland, well, they got a decent draw in lane 3. We're looking at the Lithuanians, Kraila Kaite and Adama Vukaite. They've really lit up the scene this season. Lane 4, they've got a chance to get in the final and grab that Olympic qualification place. And Spain, well, they'll be a little disconsolate. Just, you see Joanna crossing herself there, the Romanian bowwoman. And the British, in probably the least favoured lane on this near side, they are doubling up in the women's 8. Emily Ford and Esme Booth go again in the repechage tomorrow to try and qualify the British women's 8.
Yeah, and as you say, Martin, we think it's the least favoured lane. We think they've been moved across here. You can see it, that we've reseeded the lanes. We're actually using lanes 2 to 7 as well to try and make it as fair as possible. It'll be interesting to see, really, how well these crews on this side do and whether they're really pushed out of it or whether actually the wind isn't such a big deal. But let's see.
And we're away in the first AB semi-final of these championships in the women's pair. Top 3 will progress to the A final, the remaining 3 through to the B final. And it really depends on the boat class and the number of qualifying positions as to whether just making the A final seals your qualification spot, doesn't it?
Yeah, this women's pair, there's 11 places direct to the Paris Olympics. So, in fact, you know, the B final is the race that you don't want to lose. As we're taking a look there, that was the Chilean pair that we had a nice picture of from behind.
I saw the Spanish jump out, and this is a pattern we saw yesterday when they also reallocated the lanes for the quarterfinals. Anya Sid and Esther Breeze Zamora have had a great season, and if you're on this near side, I reckon the coaches will have told the guys, so Javier Gonzalez Neto, get out quickly. You've got to be in the race because you're on the unfavoured lane. And they do go out fast, and then they tend to fade as the wind shadow kicks in.
Yeah, and I guess the thing that went with that is we did see some crews really struggle in the last 500 because we saw people, like you say, go for it in the first 500, as we're seeing here, really across those 5 boats, and it's only the British who are getting left behind. But will they pay for it in the last 500?
So we see the British on screen there in the stroke seat, Esme Booth in the bow seat, Emily Ford. As you say, Greg, just dropping off the pace with these other 5 boats still locked together in this early stage. You can get a bit of a sense of looking at the water that it is pretty tricky conditions out there at the moment. I was talking to some of the coaches in the boat park, and the sense was actually that the conditions have been reasonably fair because they're blowing quite straight at the moment. So that fairness will obviously become a question through the day, but the feeling was that it was more or less fair at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sarah, as we can see this one coming through, and it is not particularly affected by the conditions as you look at that now, the crews you might expect on the far side, just with that small lead. But I agree with you, I went and stood on the landing stage down by the water, and you can feel it's a strong headwind, but it doesn't feel like an unfair headwind at the moment.
Lithuania and Spain doing particularly well on this side of the course. The Spanish had that fast start. Romania starting to get into their rhythm now. This pair that have come together. The stroke woman of the Romanian pair, Roxana Angel, it's her first year in racing a pair internationally, which is surprising considering how much Antonio Colomanici mixes up the boats. And in second place, that's the pair from Lithuania. Spain still in there, the Irish yet to make a move in the centre, and the Chileans, the Abraham twins, back in, what, 3rd place at the moment?
Yeah, the Chileans there on lane 2. As you say, they're wrestling with the Lithuanians. Lithuanian Kralia Kute in the bow seat. She won the gold in the under-23 pair. So good step up here at the Senior World Championships.
And the Chileans have had a really impressive regatta so far. They've moved into 2nd place now, into a qualifying position, and they've really been, I think, it's been a huge step up for them at these championships.
Yeah, it has. We saw them in Zagreb, which the entry wasn't that good, but they beat Russia and Muzniki, the American pair, in the heats to qualify through directly, and really impressive, as you say, Sarah.
So coming up to the 900-metre mark, you can see the Romanians unsurprisingly starting to open out clear water on the field. Just in the boat park before, we saw the legendary oarswoman Elisabeta Lipa. She's part of the ministry, I think, for sport. She heads up the ministry for sport in Romania, so she's here supporting the Romanian team, and we'll be delighted. We think it's going to be a great championship for the entire Romanian team. They have a lot of favourite boats as we come through the 1,000-metre mark here. It is Romania now with a clear water lead over the field. Ireland just pushing through into second, but very tight between Chile and Lithuania for that all-important third qualifying position.
Yeah, good second 500 for the Irish there, for Murta and Keogh. They were both in that bronze medal Coxless 4 in Tokyo. So good move for them, pushing into that second qualifying place.
Yeah, and that Irish women's pair is their top women's sweep boat, Greg. And so it's vitally important, given the significance of Irish women's rowing now since that bronze medal in Tokyo, that they do make a good showing here. Impressive that they're out in front. You can see the Romanians, fantastic rowing, just hitting the water there, gives an indication of the conditions over there in that far side lane. But the Irish ahead now of the Chileans. Lithuania, just that 4 metres, they'll give them heart, Krelikaite and Adoma Bukaite in lane 4, that they can grab that Olympic qualifying place and finish in the top 3.
As you say, it'll give them heart, but I can't help feeling worried about the way this is looking when you look across the lanes. We know the Romanians are the strongest crew here. They got the gold medal at the European Championships, started the year really strongly. No surprise to see them up there. It looks like it's going to be tough coming from this far side of the course.
What do you reckon to the Irish pair? They're really trucking it on, aren't they? They've really rode through that second quarter very well. We just had a shot of them there. Extremely hard working. There we see the two pairs. Just a little bit tight in the way forward, perhaps.
I mean, it's pretty tough in those headwind conditions to not be tight coming forward, I think, with that kind of pressure blowing back on you. But they're doing a pretty good job here for me. I think they look pretty comfortable. It's been a well-placed race. They're coming up to the 1,500, as you're pointing out to me, Martin, moving nicely around the back.
Yeah, really clear of the water on the back turn, the Irish, definitely. Chile in third place through the 1,500 metres, and it's going to be an awful lot of work for the Lithuanians, or certainly the Spanish pair. We saw them go off fast, and the British pair in last place. Not much chance of them grabbing a first 3 and an automatic qualification slot.
Well, we're looking at the Romanians, and they're looking fairly relaxed at the front of the field. They're at 37 strokes a minute, tapping it along. But yeah, I mean, good performance from the Irish here. They haven't let up at all. 38 they're going at. You can see that wind they're rowing into. And they're looking pretty strong there for that second place.
I was looking at some pair data from out this week, and it seemed as though most of the pairs who were doing well in these conditions were keeping their rate up in the men's and the women's pairs at about 37, 38 through the middle 1,000. The pairs that were starting to drop down to that 34, 35 were really struggling in these heavy conditions. So I think the Irish have done a really lovely job of just keeping that boat up and moving through the middle 1,000.
Yeah, the Irish from University College Cork and University of Galway. Established combination. Romanians look really cool out as they come into that wind shadow where the trees, the tall trees, you can see them. That gives that side a little bit more shelter, and they are edging away. Big gap, Sarah Cook pointing out, between the Romanians and the Irish and the Chileans. Lithuania trying to charge, but it's not going to happen for Krelikaite and Adoma Bukaite. Good effort from them. They still have a chance to qualify for the Olympics in the B final, but here we go, the Irish and the Chileans in second and third. Romania will cross the line soon.
Yeah, here they go, coming down towards the line. It's this Romanian pair in control over there on the far side of the course to us, crossing the line now. You'll hear the beep as they cross the line. It's going to be Ireland taking the second place into the final, and the Abraham sisters securing that third qualifying place. Those three know they're going to Paris, and then we have the Lithuanians, the Spanish and the British are going to be over here. As you can see, the graphic hasn't changed yet, but don't let that throw you.
the Chilean pair. They're pumping their hands in the air. They've secured a position for the Paris Olympics. It's huge. They've had a great season, as we said, and they're just absolutely delighted that they have secured that qualification position for the Games. The Romanians, though, cool and calm, as we would probably expect, but great to see that emotion from the Chileans.
Yeah, and, you know, it's great for Vero Giovanni, to the Irish performance director, to have put those two Irish women in the pair as the top boat and to be rewarded with that qualification slot.
Yeah, Fiona Murta and Efric Keogh, a big choice, as you say, to go for it in the pair and say this is where we're going to prioritise. But confirmation there, those top three will be in the A final. But the others still have a chance in the B final. The top 5 in that B final will qualify for Paris.